This is a very interesting story of a midwife's secret in a village called Omaigo. It was a blood moon night. The village of Omaigo sat quiet beneath a veil of crimson light. A rare blood moon bathed the hills and rooftops in a ghostly glow, turning the familiar into the strange. Folk whispered that such nights carried omens. Birds under the blood moon were both blessed and cursed. In a modest cottage on the village edge, Nkechi labored, her cries muffled by clothes and prayers. She was a woman of strength, with honey brown hair and eyes that held quiet storms. Her husband had died months before in a timber accident, and her child was all she had left. By her side stood Ndidi, the village midwife, known to all as healer and herb keeper. Her eyes were pale like mist over the river, her voice calm even when life hung by a thread. "Nkechi, push now," Ndidi said, her hands poised like a sculptor's. And she came. A small, squalling miracle. A girl, perfect and red with moon's light on her brow. But Nkechi was so weak, she collapsed into unconsciousness. The room fell into silence, but for the child's cries and the wind outside. Ndidi stared at the baby, long and hard. Her hands trembled. "A child born under a blood moon," she whispered. "Fate chooses few." She glanced at Nkechi, then wrapped the child tightly and stepped out into the night. When Nkechi woke, the room was empty. The fire had burned low, casting shadows that danced like spirits. She sat up slowly, heart thudding. The cradle beside her bed was bare. No cries, no breath. Ndidi sat by the door, her eyes downcast. She didn't survive, Nkechi," she said softly. "They called. There was nothing I could do." Nkechi let out a sound that's heard since the old wars, a mother's howl. She screamed. She clutched the empty air where her child should have been, and from that night on, she bore a silence in her soul. No one questioned Ndidi. No one ever did. Far from Omaigo, deep within Equarry Forest, Ndidi raised the child in secret. She named her Ujunwa. The girl grew with a fire in her spirit and songs in her dreams. Ndidi taught her the herbs, the ways of healing, and the secret of stars and roots. As she was growing, Ndidi never allowed her to go into Omaigo village. She warned her and told her that Omaigo village is very dangerous and the people in it are very, very wicked, that she is not allowed to go near the people in Omaigo. Ujunwa respected her mother's wish. She never entered Omaigo village. And so Ndidi stayed. But at night, she sang songs she did not remember learning. Songs that echoed through the trees and brought tears to Ndidi's eyes. Back in Omaigo community, Nkechi never believed that her child died. She continued living her day-to-day life, but she always sings to her child. She always whispers to the winds. The same lullaby she sings for the baby while she was still in the stomach, she sings it every day. There is no day that passes without Nkechi singing that particular lullaby for her child, always praying for Mother Earth to protect her child and bring her home safely to her one day. As the years go by, Ujunwa grew up into a beautiful lady. Now she's 25, under another rare moon. Not a blood moon this time, but a silver one, high and full, casting a glow over the forest floor. The air was different that night still, but alive, like the forest was holding its breath. She stood by the old wishing pool, her reflection dripping in the water. She really knew that she doesn't belong there. She whispered, "Who am I truly?" And then, like an echo from the deep woods, a melody rose through the night air. A lullaby, a familiar one. She had heard it before in her dreams, in the shadows, in the rustle of the trees, when the wind whispered her name. Drawn as though by a string tied to her soul, Ujunwa packed a satchel, kissed Ndidi while she was sleeping on her forehead, and left before dawn. She followed the melody like a thread of straight through the hills, down into the valley of Emegu she had never been before. In Omegu village, they always hold an annual festival for their missing people wherever they are, if they are dead, so that they will rest in peace, and if they are still alive, so that they will come home. Nkechi have never for once missed that festival because she believes that her child will come back to her one day. She always sang that same lullaby beneath the old wishing tree. Even though many had forgotten its meaning, she has never forgotten. She always wishes on that tree. She always sings that lullaby, sending it to her child wherever she is because she believes that she is still alive. This year, as the lanterns floated into the sky, she stood once more beneath the branches and began to sing that same lullaby. Her voice was softer now, but still full of that ache, the ache of a love that never died. Unseen in the gathering crowd, Ujunwa stepped into the square, her heart pounding. The song filled her ears, the very one she had followed from the forest. Her legs carried her forward like they were no longer her own. When Nkechi's eyes met hers, time stopped. "Your eyes," Nkechi whispered, voice shaking. "They are his and mine." Ujunwa stepped closer. "I don't know why, but I feel like I know you." A single tear rolled down Nkechi's cheek. She reached out, brushing Ujunwa's face with trembling fingers. Ndidi arrived moments later, breathless from the climb, her cloak heavy with dew. The crowd parted as she approached the two women. "Nkechi, I never meant to harm," she said. "I only wanted to love again." She told the village everything: the birth, the lie, the guilt that had haunted her for 25 years. Nkechi listened, her arms around Ujunwa. "Ndidi, you stole my child," she said, in a plain voice, "but you also raised her when I could not. This is a strange love." Ndidi wept again. old and worn out by the weight of the secret that she carried alone. Ujunwa stayed in Omegu. She learned to weave from Nkechi and taught the villagers the healing songs and herbs Ndidi has passed down to her. But she did not forget the woman who raised her. She visited Ndidi often, tending to her in the forest until her last days. When Ndidi passed, they buried her under the tree near the wishing pool where the wind always sang. Each year, on the night of the festival of returning, Nkechi and Ujunwa stood beneath the wishing tree, side by side. Their lullaby rose like smoke into the stars, no longer a song of loss, but one of return. Thank you for listening to our story. Please subscribe, like, and comment, and click on your notification button so that you'll be notified anytime we upload our new story. Bye-bye.